everyone, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do a very simple design using a combination of Filbert brushes and flat brushes, or a flat brush I should say. I am going to be using two AMAGIC Filbert brushes, a 10 and a 14, and then a number 14 flat brush, a number 8 Deerfoot stippler, and a dotting stylus. Now, any of these items are listed down below as affiliate links if you'd like to purchase through those. And if you have similar brushes on hand already, use what you have. You don't have to purchase new. Alright, I'm going to be using FolkArt paints, Fresh Foliage, Thicket, School Bus Yellow, Wicker White, Teddy Bear Brown, and Burnt Umber. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I am going to begin this design. Now, the bottle that I have is a very large Jägermeister bottle, and this is one I'm using to paint designs on for the videos, and then I just wipe it off when I'm done. So just so you know why you keep seeing maybe a same bottle or similar, because I was doing that on a wine bottle and then happened to get this big bottle, and I thought, well, that might be better for the purpose of doing videos. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by pouncing my Deerfoot stippler into the burnt umber. And then I'm going to come over here and put in, I'm going to do 3 of these flowers, and I'm just going to tap in the centers just to kind of align where I want them to be. Now I can move them up, move them around, have more, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so then I just tip my brush into the Teddy Bear Brown, and I'm just coming back in here to add that color. And I will be going back over these, so if they're not perfect, it doesn't matter. And I'm not really into them being perfect anyways, so if you are, have at it. Alright, so here we go. We've got our centers. And then I'm going to take the number 14 Filbert brush, and I am going to just dip it into, I'm sorry, I need a bigger space for my videos, apologize. Alright, so basically through creating this design, I'm going to dip into the School Bus Yellow, tip into the Wicker White, and begin to paint. I'm not going to be showing you this the whole time because my bottle is so big. I want to make sure I get the design painted. Alright, so we're just pushing down and pulling towards the center. Pushing down, pulling towards the center. As you're doing this, if you feel like it needs to be a little bit more opaque, then put some more paint on your brush and continue on. Now you can do this where you're just pulling towards the center and leaving it like that, or you can do it where you're pulling towards the center and you turn your brush as you get close to the center. Either way is fine. So this is going to go off to the side a little bit, which is fine. Purpose of the video, I'm just doing the front of the bottle. And again, as I'm doing this, if I feel like it's not opaque enough, I will add more paint to my brush. Now you can make these petals longer, you know, you can make them shorter. It doesn't matter the length. It's whatever you want to do. You know, one of the most important things when you're painting on glass is to clean your bottles, clean your glass, whatever it is you're painting on, with soap and water, and then make sure you go over it with rubbing alcohol before you paint, just to make sure that you're getting good coverage. You want to make sure that the glass is clean so that your paint adheres nicely to the glass. That is important. Now you're seeing me kind of skip around a little bit here, and I will show you. I am going to fill it in, but I'm doing this, the purpose of doing this is I want to put another row in of petals, and I want to be able to do that without having these petals interfere from the beginning part. You'll see, I mean, eventually they'll be layered, and you'll understand what I'm talking about here in a minute. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm not too concerned about the coverage, but I'm letting you know because you might want to give it a little dry time, go back over it again, just to make sure your design is opaque. And that means that you're putting your paint on a little bit thicker so that the coverage is going to be a little bit more the word I wanted to use. It's going to be better because the paint is thicker, and it's going to be more durable. That's what I was looking for. If you have any questions or comments while I'm painting, please feel free to put those down below the video when you're done viewing. And again, if you're new to my channel, I always like to remind people that I intend to have my designs be good for beginners. That's on purpose. So if you think, wow, they're too simple, you know, that's fine. This is meant to be for people that are new to painting. And if you're somebody that's been painting, just, you know, use my designs as something to maybe inspiration, or if you feel like they're too simple, you know, I understand that. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing here is just putting another layer of petals. And somehow or another I got some brown in there. Not sure where that came from. But as you can see, you know, doing the layers actually will make it a little bit more durable because it is a thicker application of paint. And to keep them from kind of blending in with the bottom, if you need to add more white, you could actually even use another shade of yellow if you wanted. Okay, so there's the first one, and this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get that in there first before I painted this. Now if you don't care, then just, you know, keep going. I could have put those in first and had those over the top. It really doesn't matter. But that's the reason why I kind of stopped and waited until I could put that in there. But see, this is just so simple. And that's why I just feel like anybody can do this. If you can hold a paintbrush, you can do this design. And it's just very relaxing. You put on some fun music and just chill out. Right? Can you see it? I can see just being very relaxed doing this. Because I'm very relaxed doing it. Alright. So then we have the same situation here. I pulled and waited to put these in. Now too, when you're painting on glass, make sure that you give your glass some dry time before you bake it. When you put it into your oven, you need to make sure that the oven has not been turned on yet. You want to make sure that you're putting it into a cold oven and then turning your oven on. Add your preheat time to your bake time and So like say for instance, the paint says to bake it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. So my bake time, or my preheat time on my oven is 20 minutes. So I add that bake time to my, I add the, not bake time, but I add the preheat time to my bake time, and then that will give me, you know, the time for the oven to heat up and for it to bake. And the thing of it is, it's not going to bake, it's not going to hurt it if it bakes longer. That doesn't hurt it at all. So if you're wondering, well, what about that? It doesn't hurt it. Alright, so let's go back over these. I've got my brush full of the burnt umber, and I'm just going to, now I am doing this wet on wet. Again, you could do some dry time if you wanted and not wanted to pull in some of the paint from underneath. For me, it's okay. I don't have a problem with pulling the paint in from underneath. I'm going to come here, do the same thing, and pull it around like that. And then come here, do the same thing. I just noticed, you know, I did my flowers really big. So my leaves, not gonna have a lot of room for them, right? And how I feel about my leaves if you're used to watching me. Alright, so I'm gonna just tip the top into the teddy bear brown. And I apologize, my furnace is not furnace, but air conditioning is starting up. So I'm just going to come back around with the lighter color. Come back around with the lighter color. Now these don't all have to be going in the same direction. When you're painting, you don't have to put your blooms all going in the same direction. They can be kind of turned some, however you want to do it. Oop, that's kind of cute with some yellow in there. Like I said, if you want it to be perfect, or not necessarily perfect, but if you want it to be more lined, you can hit it with a heat gun. Alright, I am going to go ahead and do that with this because of the limited amount of space I've created with doing these so big. I will be right back. Alright, so I went ahead, gave that some dry time with my heat gun, and right now I'm going to take my number 14 flat brush, dip one side into the thicket, one side into the fresh foliage. If I want, I can add a little bit of white to that just to give it a little bit more opaqueness. The white is very pigmented, so it does a really good job of covering if you need, you know, to add something to make it a little bit thicker. Because some of the paints are pretty transparent. They don't cover as well. So you might need to do that. But here we go. I'm just going to do my basic, this wiggle leaf here. I am going to come back, wiggling, and just turn it a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little stem in it. I can do the light or I can do the dark. Whichever I want to do. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to wiggle. And I'm kind of just tapping right now because I want to make sure that I don't pull up any of the paint. And I can do a little bit darker on the outside of this. I can come down the side like I'm doing, as opposed to turning the brush at the tip and coming back up that way. You can do them either way. And you're going to get a different look for your leaf depending on which way you go. And like I said, I don't have a whole lot of room here, so I'm just kind of doing what I can fit in here, which for some of you, you're probably thinking, thank heavens, since I do a lot of leaves. Alright, so this is what I mean by coming back the tip and coming back. I can curve it a little bit like that. And then take my stem, and I'm sorry, I don't want to hit the camera. The only problem with these brushes is that they are long stemmed. And I don't know what would happen if you tried to cut them off. It's like this, I can go down one side and then come back and start on the other side, and I'm doing dark down there like that. Just play with your leaves. You know, they don't have to be difficult to do. Just play with them a little bit. Alright, so then we're going to come up here, and I have a lot of white on this, so I'm going to put a little bit more of the green in there. And also keep in mind too, you can do some leaf work prior to painting your flowers. I find myself a lot of times just adding the leaves in afterwards, but you can do it both ways. And that means, I see, like the way I just did this one, it looks like it already has a stem, so I don't really have to add any more to that. But anyhow, you can add some leaves in prior to painting if you want. Do something a little different here. I mean, that's up to you. And then maybe add some more leaves in after you're done. And I'm going to go up here, come down here, and just do it like that. So again, it's just giving you some different leaves. They're not all the same. And then I'm going to take this brush, still the chisel edge, and let's see, because I want to do some little stem work here, but you're not going to see it a whole lot because I wasn't thinking and made my flowers so big on this surface. I get a little carried away because the surface is big, but it's not that big, and I tend to forget that. It's only my third time painting on this surface, so I'm just going to do a little bit down here. That way you can see it, hopefully. Alright, so then I'm going to take my Filbert brush. I'm going to put it into the green, tip it into the fresh foliage, and tilt it to the side. And then I'm just going to come back and forth and add in these little leaves. Just keep repeating in your paint if you need to. These do not have to be perfect by any means. They do not have to be the same length. They're actually more interesting if they're not. It just depends on the space that you have. And then what I did on my paper, because I always do my designs on paper, I went ahead and added in a little bit of yellow, just kind of sporadically, not on every leaf, but just a little bit here and there, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to go back, do the same thing over here. Alright, so then this will actually come into the petals a little bit. So yes, I am pulling in some of the yellow. As you can see, not a biggie. I hope you can see this. Trying to make sure I'm on the screen still. With the bottle being a little curvy, sometimes the brush catches that and kind of swings it around a little bit there. Come here like that. And then, I mean, you could touch it into the green, or not the green, but the yellow or the white. It doesn't really matter. This one kind of has a lot of color to it anyways because of having more paint in my brush. But you can see, you know, it's just a filler, and I can come in here, just swing it back. And I hope you're finding that these designs are helping you, you know, take some initiative and paint. You know, they are, again, meant to be easy. They're not meant to be rocket science. And I know for myself, I cannot stand designs that take 25 hours to paint. I'm just not that patient. I just like quick designs. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is I am going to just put some dots in here. Now, I, can look at this and say, okay, which one is the top? Which direction is it going? You can do these all the way around, or you can just do a little bit, do a lot. Like this one I feel like is kind of facing that direction. Make sure I'm in here, and I am putting a little bit on the, even if you can't see them that well, putting a little bit on the, let's do it this way, on the petals of the flower. Now I'm going to go into the white, just dip it in there, and then come back in and just add some. If you want, you could even add a totally different color. There's something that's not even in this design, period. I mean, that would definitely allow it to show up better. If you don't like the dots, then leave them out. Alright, pretty darn simple, right? And it's pretty. I like this flower. I had fun creating it. Alright, there you go. Darn simple, pretty. Paint this on glass. You can sit it on a shelf. You can add lights to your bottles. I like adding lights, or you can use them as little flower vases, put some dried flowers in it, or if you like to do incense, maybe you can use them for an incense burner. Pretty easy. Alright, I hope you like this video. If you do, please make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. And before you leave, if you would take a moment to share this video on your social network with your family and friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Just hit the share button you'll find underneath the video. It'll give you the options and you're good to go. Alright, once again, thanks so much for taking time to view my video. I do appreciate you. Stay safe and healthy and have a good one.